Okay, so sorry about that. I got disconnected from a bad connection. So now I'm back on, just waiting for Cora to get back in here. So we'll talk about joining, moving from Hong Kong to Singapore with Cora. So let's see when she joins, she can continue her conversation.
I'm back.
Hi. Yeah, sorry about that.
It's
And
okay. And another
I was
thing that
trying
we
to,
learned from COVID, right?
I know,
It's
I was
like,
trying to wave. Let me speak. I was trying to wave at people, and then when I waved, it actually affected the bandwidth. So then, therefore, it disconnection. So now I will stop waving at people.
oh,
All
that's
right. So
interesting.
if I don't wave at you, that doesn't mean I'm rude. That's just because I wanted to keep the connection going. All right. So,
It's okay.
Cora, sorry about that.
Yep.
You were talking about, moving to Singapore.
Yeah. So when I moved to Singapore, in the beginning, it was pre-COVID. So I moved here 2019 in August, and
Mm,
I still practice every day. So I go to the studio, and I practice, but I was alone. I didn't really make friends, and
mm,
didn't have friends for quite a couple of months, to be honest.
mm,
Um,
mm.
and I thought, you know what, like it's okay, it takes time, I can do this alone. And then COVID hits and it got worse, right? Then
Yep.
then I'm locked up. Um,
Mm,
so um, so for a while it was okay, to kind of thinking about,
mm,
this is my personal journey. I can just do my self practice at home even during
mm,
COVID times.
mm,
But after a while, I just felt very disconnected to other people, even to myself.
mm.
It's just in my head, right? And I feel I
Yep.
need the community again. And when I
Yep.
get to connect with during Zoom time, during COVID time, to do some of these Zoom practice with Hong Kong,
Mm,
it made me realize that having some sort of relationship with other yoga practitioners and also with teachers, and also
mm-hmm,
it doesn't matter whether you're a yoga student or as a yoga teacher,
mm.
doing this thing together would make it easier and better,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Because,
So
yeah,
yeah,
continue.
so I would say that that's something I really miss and still
Mm,
do, and still trying to find that in Singapore. And
mm-hmm,
so yeah, so I that's why I'm very excited to have you come over here and to do
mm,
this mentorship program together, to
mm.
try to build a community.
Yeah, because I totally agree with you. I remember, when I first started teaching, circa 2010, it was a million years ago in Beijing. And back then, there was no social media, there was no, WeChat, no nothing. And, you know, like and I was freelancing in Beijing. It felt that, I was, hopping from one studio to the next. And unlike in a full-time job where you actually have a desk and you can talk, you have actual colleagues. As a yoga teacher, if you're a freelancer, you just arrive in the studio, 15 minutes or 30 minutes before your class starts, go teach, and then students leave, and then you leave, and you don't really get to see a fixed group of people. And I felt really alone. I didn't feel lonely, but then I felt alone. It's like, oh, it was really different from my old life in PR. And so, and I heard that in Singapore, the teaching um, environment, the ecosystem is also quite different from Hong Kong. So I'm really eager to learn more about how teachers teach in Singapore, and how people practice yoga, or like what people feel like is in the most important part in their fitness, you know, world, basically. Yeah.
Um, do you want me to answer that, or is it something that you
Yes,
want to come
please,
out and
please.
find out? Well,
Oh yeah, if you have anything to add, please go ahead.
Well, I think I agree with you. Actually, I started off freelance as well, right? I started off
Mm-hmm.
freelance as a yoga teacher, and then I run around. And
Mm.
I agree. You know, you feel like you're always surrounded by a group of people, but you're very alone, right? You
Yeah.
feel like, so
Yeah.
you're not feeling alone, but you feel lonely. But at the same time,
Mm.
I think it's also the fact that because when we go teach, we
Mm.
somehow hold the authority, right? And then,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow we can't really get feedback. You know, we walk out, we
Yep.
don't know, oh, how do we do? Is it good? Is it
Yep.
bad? And students may
Yep.
not be the best people to give you feedback either. And
Mm-hmm.
then you got to get stuck in your head. And that's a very dangerous thing
Mm-hmm.
for a lot in a long period of time without
Mm-hmm.
someone to talk to.
Yep.
But actually, even in a big studio, it's not a big difference, right? I feel in if we don't invest in these relationship
Yep.
and being proactively try to bring people and teachers together for practice, for conversations,
Mm. Mm.
most of the time, even in big studios, people go in and walk out, and even if they say hi, it's not exactly like having a safe space and conversations to talk about teaching, right?
Yep.
And I think this is why I keep saying that I think this mentorship is not only for the mentors to teach the mentee, is for
Mm.
people to get together and being able
Mm.
to discuss these matters and challenges in the safe space.
Yep.
um I don't know what's the difference between Hong Kong and Singapore. Well, I'm sorry, but Singapore 365 days of summer, we gonna look good. Right. So
Yep.
fitness wellness is really big here. And I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
quite surprised, and
Yep.
um very strong practitioners here. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
impressed, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have been enjoying teaching here. I'll let you come and find out. I don't want
Okay.
to. I want you to explore yourself and let me
Okay.
know what you think when
Okay.
you come here.
I mean, I'll be
Yeah.
there for 2 weeks anyway, so there's plenty of time. So, where do you teach now? I mean,
So
how can people?
I returned to Pure. I returned
Okay.
to Pure. So I used to
Mm-hmm.
teach in. So um, after freelancing for a number of years in Hong Kong,
Mm.
teaching in multiple studios, I decided to join Pure, and I joined in 2017. I guess the reason
Mm-hmm.
is because when I was teaching in feel like and also teaching privates, I felt the need for the skills to manage bigger group classes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then Pure was expanding at the time, and they opened World Trade Center in Causeway Bay, and so I was one of the teachers who started there, right? And
Yep.
I liked it because it's a new space, new students,
Yep.
and I was there. I taught there for two
Mm.
years, and then when I moved to Singapore, I stopped a little bit. I returned last year in April, and I've
Mm-hmm.
been teaching there since, right? And keep
Right.
myself very busy. I
Mm.
think the COVID period, not teaching for 8 months, drive me nuts, right? So
Has it
since I
been
returned to
8 months
teaching,
not
I
teaching?
stopped. Yes, so I stopped. So when I moved here in August, I was going to take a few months, and then COVID hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then studio were not open, and we all have we all have we all have stories that we tell ourselves too, right? So in the beginning, it was like, oh, it's COVID, and then it was like,
Mm.
it's COVID, I shouldn't start now, right? Until my
Yep.
teacher kind of gave me a smack and go, nope, you just got
Yep.
to go and do the thing.
Yep.
So I rejoined in April, and I've been very busy since then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
I mean, Hong Kong
yeah.
has been kind of like open and closing on and off. So, um, I mean, to be honest, it hasn't been very easy with a lot of not just yoga teachers, but a lot of like industries, especially fitness, because the government decided that fitness was not essential business. So, I mean, we were first to close, and even though I mean, that's a different story why we were closed. But I think one very weird thing about COVID is that, it actually brought the fitness industry people together, bring us more united, to make us more united. because we kind of had, a common goal to, first of all, how to stay afloat, how to, not close down despite, having to pay rent while, when you're not allowed to open. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between Hong Kong and other markets, because I heard from the news that in other markets there are like, rent relief, or the government has mandated that, landlords are not allowed to charge the rents during this period. That's a totally different conversation, but Hong Kong, and I think Hong Kong people suddenly became more, I think we're kind of a late, boomer, that, suddenly decided that, well, health and wellness are super important, and not just physical wellness, but also mental wellness, because mental health, because if you are, not allowed to go out, or you're not allowed to do exercise for this amount of time, you will basically become more and more depressed. And I think this is one good thing. I think one silver lining that Hong Kong people have suddenly started to realize that, okay, exercise is important, so on and so forth.
You does what you just said does make me think about, when you're saying about Hong Kong versus Singapore. Okay, so now obviously it's just my personal opinion, right? Hong Kong is fast. It's very fast. It's very fast. It's all about doing. I do realize after I moved to Singapore, I've slowed down quite a bit, and so here, it's people are more. I do feel people look after themselves a little bit better without so much hustle and like with Hong Kong, right? So it's you definitely, when you come here, you will feel it's less stressful. But to be honest, like the Hong Kong situation has been very stressful. In Singapore, actually, we're very lucky. The government has been doing very well during COVID times to look after studios, and also to really promote that health and wellness are super important during this time. So even when studios really closed, I remember like the gyms were closed and the yoga studios were closed, right? And then the yoga studios go up and talk to the government and say, no, this is not strenuous exercise. You should let something going. And the Singapore government actually changed their mind and lets yoga studio open, or because and then we have to bring our own mats and stuff like that. But who cares? As long as we have a space to practice. And so we are very lucky here.
That did not happen in Hong Kong.
No. But another thing that I was thinking about is during this whole time, we have this mentorship alumni group, right? And I know you guys have been having a lot of challenges in the last few years, but also seeing that in that group, how you guys support each other, sharing information. And that was amazing. So it goes back to the point of what you said of like, bringing the resilience, right, of this teachers coming together and help out each other during this difficult time. And it's a very beautiful thing to see.
That's good. So I have a few more questions. I don't want to keep this a very long conversation because I know that people don't have that much time and patience. So now we're both yoga teachers, and why do we love teaching yoga? Do you want to go first?
Okay, well, how great. Okay, you go first this time. You always tell me to let you talk. So
Okay. Why do I love teaching yoga? I just like to see people change for the better for themselves. And if you asked me this question a few years ago, I'll be like, seeing my students doing the first crow pose or the first headstand and that smile on their face, and that was the reason why I teach yoga and blah blah blah. But now, like, I think on a deeper level, it's actually that people work very hard through the yoga practice, and they start to see the change they were aiming for, or they didn't even expect in their life inside the yoga studio or on that mat, and how that slowly translates to their daily life. That is why I teach yoga.
I agree. I totally agree.
Mm.
Well, first of all, how great it is to have a job on something that you also really like, right? Not everyone is that lucky, right? You know, many people what they like and the job are two different things. And so, you know, I'm just being honest. I'm very lucky to have a job is also on something that I truly love, right?
Yep.
But and that's cliche. The second reason, I think it sounds cliche, but I truly want to help people. Like, I'm the kind of person that even you don't want my help, I would beg you to let me help you. So I think it's some people are just like, that's like, let me help you.
Yeah.
Like, really want to. And it brings me joy when I can help people. But you're right? You know, in the beginning, I think we have the fulfillment when we see students having achievements in poses, right? But now that has changed. Actually, I don't, not even like, if the purpose of helping them achieve poses is because they're achieving poses, that's not really the goal, right? But it's the empowerment, you know. Like, recently, aerial yoga is back in Singapore, which is great. And the reason why I really like teaching aerial yoga is because it brings people upside down, right? And you have so many people who go and say, no, can never, you know, I can't do it, I cannot do it. And when they can do it, it's the empowerment of letting them know that they can do something that they never thought they can do. And that is not changing anything. The going upside down does not mean anything, is how it changed the mindset in life, right? And also, I guess, is I think we all experience how the practice teach us to deal with challenges. You know, every day the body is different. Sometimes it really sucks, and it's through the practice, consistent practice, that eventually we see changes in ourselves, being more forgiving sometimes, and also being more resilient, which is, I think, something that we all need right now, right? So,
you know that famous saying,
that's why I love teaching yoga.
You remember that that very famous saying from Padabi Draws, body not stiff, mind stiff. Because what we do in yoga is actually
at people
not
again.
No, I'm not. Can you hear me? Should I repeat?
You yes, okay,
Okay,
yes, please repeat.
Okay, so that very famous saying from Padabi Draws, he said, body not stiff, mind stiff. And it's something that we are trying to convince people, because they think that they are not flexible enough to do the. It's actually a manifestation of what's happening in their mind. You know, that they're stubborn, that they're stiff, so on and so forth.
But do you think the modern, like, one question for you, do you think modern yoga is still seen as very physical, or do you see that changing? Like, what do you see right now? Like you're a mentor for teachers, and what do you think is our message to give to new teachers to teach at the same time to practitioners and students? What should yoga look like? And if it's not shapes, we are making shapes.
We are making shapes, but then the thing is, yes, we are making people do the shapes that they've never done before. And I think, you know, yoga on a physical form, it is like a very, it's like two extremes on the same spectrum. So, for example, you know, some people will go to the, you know, very physical practice. They want to do, you know, handstand. They want to do handstand, hollow back, you know, alien pose, and But then on the other end of the spectrum, people are very afraid to embrace the physical form of yoga because they think that yoga should be meditative. Yoga should be about the chakra. Yoga should be still. Da, da, da. But you know, yoga is also about balance. Yoga is about finding the middle ground. Why can't we find a spiritual practice from a movement, from a flow, and why can't we find movement from a spiritual practice?
Well, body and mind, we're all connected, right? We have both.
Exactly.
So they are really
Exactly.
one thing, right? Yeah.
So, and
So I guess that's
my approach to
mm,
teaching is that, we can't force people to meditate when they're not ready, or nor can we force them to do a headstand before they're ready. But one of the easiest ways for teachers, or for anyone to be in touch with their mental, the deeper side of themselves and the practice is through the physical form. Because if someone who have never, ever, ever meditated before, and then you're gonna ask them, okay, well, sit there in a cross-legged position for 5 minutes. Let's do it. Let's start the class with the meditation. They are gonna hate you. They are gonna not come back to your class. But then if you actually ease them, help them stretch, help them guide them to breathe, give them some movements first, help them open the heart chakra, if that's how you want to call it, then you finish with a meditation. They'll probably like it, but I might be wrong.
well, like I'm going to confess, when I did my 200 hours, didn't like to
Mm-hmm.
meditate, did not
Mm-hmm.
like philosophy, fall asleep with the book. It takes time, right? And then
Yep.
I think the message is, like, we are here, what, 45 minutes, and we're
Mm-hmm.
barely like tip of the iceberg, not even it of if we want to have all these yoga conversation, I think we
Mm.
we need hours and hours. It's
Mm.
it's the fast subject, and
Yep.
I think there's no right or wrong answer either,
Mm.
and that's why these discussions and conversations are both valuable and
Mm.
something that I think we should have.
Mm-hmm. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to keep this going on and on and on, but I think we each received a question from our followers, right?
Yep.
And then those who are still here with us, if you have any questions for us about who we are and also about, yoga teaching, please do, just write in your comment section. So I got one question from Jason, who actually was the managing director for Five Elements and Fitness First in Hong Kong, I think in Asia as well. So he dropped me a message earlier asking what was my proudest moment as an educator. And I think that would refer to both of us. So do you want to start first, Cora?
My proudest moment is I guess I was telling we were sharing some of our experience about why we love to teach, right? So I guess my
Mm-hmm.
proudest moments would be if someone come to me and say, I never thought I can do that, but you
Mm.
empowered me to achieve something that I never thought I
Mm-hmm.
could do.
Mm-hmm.
So, or I care less about whether people can do poses. I like
Mm.
it when I feel very proud when someone comes to me and say, "Oh, that thing that you taught me, my shoulder
Mm.
pain is gone." Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can really truly help people both physically or
Yeah.
mentally through our teachings, and that's my proudest moment as an educator.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, um, I think for me it would be um, when I finish a teacher training, when I see all these graduates, they, go out and kind of like go into the kind of like uncomfortable area, having to teach real people, because once you're outside the 200-hour teacher training, you don't get to teach your classmates anymore. You have to teach real people. And
Mm.
how they were at first a bit reluctant and then started to gain their own clan, their own following, influencing other people in a healthy way. And and through that, I think that, like you said, they're empowering other people. And I think that's one of my proudest moments. Actually, I have one more,
So,
which is
like you
when I
seeing me.
think yes, and of course, seeing how teaching at pure and da da da. And but then there's another one, which is actually with Omen. Do you know Omen? Omen Chu?
Yes.
She's a couple of years
Uh-huh.
after you at mentorship. So basically,
Mm.
she's now Lululemon ambassador, and also, in fact, a lot of the graduates are Lululemon ambassadors. But anyway, she basically wasn't sure about teaching during those short days with me at the mentorship workshop, and then a few months later, suddenly she gave me a call or messaged me and said, "Victor, I decided to quit my job as a flight attendant. I now have become a full-time yoga teacher." And I was like, because I was like, okay, never quit your job to teach yoga full-time when you still have a job. But I'm also very proud of you. And she's now doing very, very well. So I don't know if Omen, you are, hearing this or not, but I'm very proud of you and many other graduates.
Well, our topic today was what you didn't know about us, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
do want to say that when I joined 200 hours, I did
Yeah.
not plan to teach.
Mm-hmm.
Did not. Yep.
Yeah. And I
And my
think
teacher was like, "You're a housewife. What do you have to lose?" And then I just kind of get in,
exactly,
right? And then
exactly, exactly.
eventually realized that that's my path. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Okay,
That's good.
I have a question from Celine, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is a very important question. How do we maintain our practice as yoga teacher?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
Yeah. Okay, I'm happy to go first.
Go.
So I
Well, you
think it's
started
just
saying that not a lot of people have self-practice, right?
mm-hmm.
That was like the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that we talked. So what are your
Yeah.
thoughts about, teachers staying in practice?
So first of all, we should, or you, or every yoga teacher should not treat them teaching classes as self-practice.
Yep.
Oh, hello, Samrat, Master Samrat. Hello. So I can't wave at you because then my connection will be bad. So what I'm trying to say is you should carve out some time for your own practice. And when I say own practice, it really doesn't have to be an hour or 90 minutes. It can be just 15 minutes, 20 minutes, just like how we encourage our students to have a daily yoga practice, or just follow our videos or whatnot. As long as you have the time in between classes, just get that done. Okay. And yes, it might not be daily, but I think 5 to 6 times a week as a yoga teacher, that should be doable. And it's really the regularity, and the desire to set an example for your students. And I think that would set a really good record for your students as well.
Well,
What about you?
okay, and I'll answer Celine in a different way, and
Mm-hmm.
like I think it's a shame if you love yoga and you eventually become a teacher, and then you become a teacher and you lose your yoga practice. Right? It's a shame
Mm-hmm.
because it's something
Mm-hmm.
that you're so dear to. It's something that changed your life, and then you go to teaching, and sure, you're in service of other people, and then you kind of lost your practice. Unfortunately, when
Mm.
we do that, I think we all have some moments of losing our own practice because we're too busy teaching. The
Mm-hmm.
result is burnout.
Yeah.
We get burnout because we're not
Mm.
receiving as a student side, or we get
Mm.
uninspired about our teaching.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
also we feel like our teaching is not precise, or not inspired, or burnout. It's either one of those. It's either not inspired or we get burnout.
Mm.
And
Mm.
and also we just can't wing it. You can't wing it for long. You can't wing it for
Mm.
long. You can't teach the same thing. And if you're not in the body,
Mm.
you have to the teaching has to be embodied. So if we don't practice, we can't be a good teacher. And it's not exactly just because of setting a good example. It's just, it just won't work. It just won't work.
But you gotta, walk the talk, right? You just can't bring out everything from the textbook. But I think it's also important for us yoga teachers, or for everyone, to maybe re-evaluate or re-understand what it actually means as yoga practice, because I think what Celine was trying to say could be the asana physical practice, but there are many different ways to approach yoga practice. Like you can have a 1 day or half an hour of pranayama or meditation, especially on days when you're feeling a little bit, drained, and pranayama is a great way to re-energize your body. And also maybe perhaps explore other avenues of disciplines and turn it into a yoga practice. For example, like running or drawing or cooking, and so on and so forth. And the thing is, if you can actually stay focused in whatever that you're doing, that could be a yoga practice, right?
Yeah, I agree. So I don't teach restorative, but I don't teach restorative, and but every Sunday I do restorative practice, and I do practice yoga, but I also like to venture out something else. So I do some mobility stuff out there, which is not yoga. So I do some in the functional movement side of things, and so yeah, I think we can think out of the box sometimes too.
Yeah.
Right. And just to kind of keep ourselves inspired, right? And then also as a student to have that beginner's mind and be stuck at something, to be on the receiving side of things. I think that's very important. Yeah.
So do you have anything to add, Cora?
I'm good. We talked a good 45 minutes. I think it's time for mommy to go to bed. Right.
Yeah, me too.
And we have a couple more coming, right?
Yeah, we have
we're gonna
different
keep
topics
talking,
coming
right?
up.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna give everyone a brief outline. So we'll be actually talk about tips on refining your yoga teaching, how to up your social media game, because now everyone is on social media, right? If you're a new yoga teacher, what to do, and how to get a job at a studio as a yoga teacher. So there's a lot more exciting, interesting topics. And if you have any topics that you think we should cover, please let us know. And
I think you should tell everyone when you're coming to Singapore, because we're looking forward to see you here. And where can I find you?
So I'm actually landing in Singapore on June 23rd, 6月23號. And I'll be there for like weeks. So actually 2 weeks. So I'll be, so the reason why I'm in Singapore is that Yoga Fest, Trisha from Yoga Fest has, invited me and many other great teachers from all over the world to teach at least I think it would probably be the first yoga festival after COVID. Is that right?
I am so excited that Yoga Fest is returning. 2 years, finally a festival. I know. Yes,
so
excited.
So I'm very excited, about this, and also, in offering mentorship workshop, the one that Cora took as a student a gazillion years ago, and now she will be actually co-teaching with me on July, I believe it's the 9th and the 10th. So I'll be in Singapore for a while. So for those who are listening and watching this, who are in Singapore, please do drop me a message, say hi. I would love to connect with you. I'll see you at the festival, or maybe you'll see me taking pictures at, is it called Merlion? Yeah, I guess so. Or maybe even at the workshop, or in your yoga studio if you want me to come in, and check out your classes or your studio. Okay, all right. So that's
it for now.
Thank you, Master Samrat. And yeah, and have a great night, everyone. And when
I
is our
can wave
next
now.
chat? Yeah, you can wave. Yeah, if we get cut off,
Saturday.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Saturday. See you guys on Saturday. Oh
Okay,
my
see you
God,
guys on
Adriana,
Saturday
Nana,
again.
I'll see you in Singapore. Bye. 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 Bye.
All right, bye. Bye-bye.